Welcome back again. That was my catchphrase for a fistful of faithful. I would always say welcome back. So I feel like I need to mix it up. Hello, how are you? Good to see you again. It's uh it's that other dude, Andrew and Heather, and we're here for episode number 23. Right?
Yeah,
It is 23. Okay.
yeah.
Um, for those of you who are curious, I am visiting my parents right now, so I'm in my room at their house, but that also means that I get the original fedora that I bought. So I guess I want to say 1987. So I was 9 years old about, and this was to complete my Freddy Krueger Halloween costume. So I went and bought. Some of you are thinking, did you have a glove with knives? No, I did not. But I did have the torn red and green sweater, and I ended up using makeup to do the burn marks. Some other kids went out and bought the Freddy Krueger mask. I was a little bit more artistic, but then this hat completed the job, and I figured why not hold on to it. So it's been, geez, 36, 30, 35, 36 years probably, and it still fits like a charm. So I will hand it now that I've spoken enough. I'll hand it over to Heather. We're here to talk about a band that she brought up. So
Yeah, we're going to talk about, actually, we have a lot to talk about today. We have a jam-packed, action-packed show today. We're going to talk about Jointhugger from Norway. That's the band that I chose for this week. And we have a few bands that we're going to review too. So we have a lot to talk about.
absolutely. Well, so I guess Joint Hugger has two full length albums, and then a couple of singles that are available on Bandcamp. Uh, so the first one was I Am No One. I don't know what year it came out.
It says on Bandcamp that it was released in 2020.
Okay, I'll I'll go with that.
Okay.
And I picked three tracks from this album: In Dire Need of Fire, Chapter One, Domen, I think that's how it's pronounced, and Night Fright. So you want to kick things off with In Dire Need of Fire, Chapter One?
I believe this is going to be a trilogy, with this song being chapter 1 and chapter 2 is on their next album. They describe their music as heavy, psychosonic doom rock straight from the fjords of Middle Earth, which I think is great. I really love the opening of this song with the guitar, and from there, it's a great instrumental sonic journey.
Yeah, I just want to hear you say that it's straight out of the fjords again.
The fjords.
Because that, yeah, I mean, there's really certain bands have a really great way of articulating their sound, and Joint Hugger is one of those bands that you read that and you think, okay, that's exactly what I'm in store for. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I said that In Dire Need of Fire, Chapter One, it was almost as if the music was sort of being assembled from the natural elements that were sort of around. Like it like the percussion in the beginning felt like someone was drumming like in a cave, like on the rocks, and then all of a sudden like a drum set appeared and it became like it just seemed like it all got incorporated. Um, and then all of a sudden we're layered in. And I said we, as in the royal we, the instruments to make it a jam. And then I said it's a progressive instrumental that felt like a 5-act play. Um, it's interesting that you mentioned that this is going to be like they're going to have different installments, different chapters, because it felt like this was the beginning of a journey, like it was a long orchestral movement or something. But
Yeah.
but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your track record speaks for itself. But yeah, you were onto something again with this band. So next up was, I think it's Doman. I actually looked up the word. I couldn't find a suitable definition.
Or a pronunciation. You know, I looked it up too, and it seems like it has a lot of different meanings in different languages. So I wasn't exactly sure what the meaning was. You know, what their interpretation of the meaning was.
Oh
So I
yeah, no,
wasn't.
I'm right there. The first
Yeah.
thing I saw was the Portuguese definition, and I was like, well, I don't know if a band from Norway is naming the song. I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So neither of us know. Members of Jointhugger, if you're out there and you're watching, and you're mouthing what it is right now in disbelief that we don't know, feel free to shoot us an email. And anyway, what did you think of the song?
Um, I saw a comment on Bandcamp that said massive riff hypnosis. And I honestly, I just love that so much. The riffs are so good. You just want to hear them over and over and over again. That's what great doom is all about. And it's mixed with some heavy psych. And to me, there's nothing better than that, in my opinion.
So I recommended that Heather watch a documentary film called Such Hawks, Such Hounds, which is essentially about the doom genre. And one of the journalists that's interviewed is this guy named Jay Bennett, who talks about the song Dope Smoker by Sleep. And he said sometimes the riff is so good, you just want to hear it for 52 minutes. And I felt like, again, that's such an accurate description. When you hear a good doom riff, sometimes you just want to hear it again and again, sometimes for 52 minutes. So yeah, I wrote that it was sort of a dissonant back and forth into a riff. It was almost like it was being constructed from an invert, like they're taking, I don't even know what you would call an inverted riff, like a traditional riff that's played sort of in a non-traditional style, but it felt like the song was being composed from these sort of inverted, like the type of they're playing doom, it's clear, but the way that they're composing it is not like they're not reaching from the well of doom riffs that have already been played. It's like they're bringing their unique version to the table. um and then yeah, it's just a progressive jam that goes into the psychedelic stratosphere. At one point it was just, I felt like I had blasted off. So yeah, and then we've got, I think it's Night Fright.
Right, right. And I love how sinister this song sounds. It's so heavy and a bit unsettling when you listen to it. Has a lot of tempo changes. It just goes hard, especially with the drums, the bass and the vocals when they come together. And the ending of the song is just superb. And I just think it's such a grand way to end the album.
Yeah, I ominous was a word that came to mind. I kept apparently when Tony Iommi wrote the riff to Iron Man and he played it for the group, Ozzy Osbourne said that sounds like a big iron bloke walking around, which I think is where they got the title for Iron Man. But I when I was listening to this song, I was like, that sounds like a big iron bloke. And then I wanted to say fee fi fo fum a couple times because I just got the sense that something massive was sort of looming around the corner. But yeah, I mean, I'm always really pleased by the music that you suggest we listen to. And this just sort of reiterates that it's always like I've never yet felt like I've listened to a band that I've heard before. Like that any of the bands that you've suggested, I'm like, okay, well, they're clearly part of the doom stoner sludge psychedelic camp, but they've sort of carved their own little niche. So I would definitely say that about Jointhugger. And
Yeah.
yeah, I Am No One is a great album to listen to. And then for Surrounded by Vultures, we I picked Midnight and then The Calm.
Yeah. And then Midnight. This song is so good. It opens with, and I think this is what it says. My friend, I need to go home. It's midnight, but I'll see you again. Barely well to get home safe and well in my bed. Where will I awake again? Am I alive or am I dead? And tomorrow by the dawn, just like the sun, I'll be gone safe and round again. And then the song has this incredible guitar medley, and it ends with the same lyrics, except they're arranged just a little bit differently.
Wow. See, that's why I love watching you work, is because you'll dive into like lyric interpretation and stuff like that. I was sort of captivated by I don't even know if it's a bossa nova that I'm talking about, but like if you've seen Austin Powers in the beginning when they do the big dance numbers and stuff and the song did it did it did it, I almost felt like this song at one point went into almost like a bossa nova type feel on the guitar. It's really cool how like how and not different, but how unique their music is. Yeah, I mean, I remember thinking like, okay, this is a little bit different from the previous album, just as awesome, but now all of a sudden I'm feeling bossa nova. Like I never would have expected to make that connection at any point. So, and then we've got the calm.
The calm. I really wanted to break down the lyrics on this song too, but I stopped myself. They're great though, great lyrics. I just think this song is a masterclass in songwriting. The way it's structured, the way the main riff it's tied together, so it makes the song seem familiar. Another incredible end. This album, and also I wanted to mention that this album it's through the label Majestic Mountain Records, and Marco Berg, the owner, he had an accident, and it sounds like he broke several bones and has to get some surgeries. So I just wanted to take the time to wish him well and a speedy recovery.
Yeah, definitely. I actually forgot to put notes on the calm. I think I definitely listened to it, but I forgot to. So we're just going to have to end the Jointhugger description with your wonderful encapsulation of the calm, and and obviously that Marco feels better and heals.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Jointhugger, definitely stop watching this video, hit pause, and go check out the playlist that Heather's put together. They're just yet another phenomenal band that you should be checking out. So, and then that's going to bring us to a cavalcade of reviews today. We're going to talk about albums from Alpha Bootis, Slow Draw, and Gramma Vedetta.
Yes.
So you want to we kick things off with Alpha Boot? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Alpha Bootis.
Yeah, well, I looked up the translation or the pronunciation of that, and they come from Montreal, and I think it might be more like Bootis because it has the the two little ellipses
Right.
over the. But I mean, I the way I pronounce it is Buddhist too, but we're Americans. And it means constellation. So I looked up the meaning of it too, and it's a constellation, which I thought was pretty cool. The album that I listened to was a science fiction double feature, and that was released December 2021. And they have this whole science fiction story on their Bandcamp page, which I really recommend checking out. My first thought when listening to this was it was like an opera with electronics, like an electronic opera. They call it space disco synth metal, which definitely piqued my interest. There's a lot of different soundscapes, and some songs have incredible soaring vocals. There's also some really interesting covers. You don't hear music like this every day. It's very inventive, and really they have some unique concepts.
Definitely. In fact, I also listened to Science Fiction Double Feature, which I believe is one of the tracks they cover that's from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's the song that opens the movie. So going into it, I sort of had the idea like, okay, they're going to cover the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm probably in store for some type of campy element to this. And there is certainly that element, but it's not all that's there. Like on the Bandcamp page, they said for fans of power metal, synthwave, and progressive rock. So I think even if you're looking for more straight up, rock and roll with sort of a synth vibe to it, they reminded me a lot of the band Hawkwind. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Hawkwind, but that was the band that I thought of with like sort of progressive metal, the synth element. I felt like at any moment there was going to be, Flash Gordon references were going to be made, but it was just a fun album to throw on and listen to, and I feel like I hope that they continue to. I know they'll continue to make music, but I hope that they'll continue to revisit these themes because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then our main man, Mark Kitchens from Slow Draw, who was kind enough to create the theme song for this very show. And aside from being a great person, is also a great musician. So
Yeah.
his latest album, Born in Coffins. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. This is kind of in the ambient drone category, and it's going to be released on May 6th. Yeah, Mark composed the theme song, HHHG FFFF, which he does have for sale on his Bandcamp page. So I definitely recommend, getting that. This new release, Mark described as a reflection of what's going on in his mind, a mixture of thoughts unraveling. Mark does his own artwork and is an incredibly talented artist and musician. He plays multiple instruments and sometimes sings, although this album has spoken word and also samples. With the pandemic and our insane schedules, it seems like we are all going through so much, and listening to this, it's like an expression. notes of music can help us express what we're feeling in a universal way. And then we can put the pieces back together that were broken, and then we can heal.
Well said. I almost don't want to say anything. That was really well said. But I
And this
will.
is Mark's poster.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark is a you meet a lot of really good people in in this community, and he's definitely one of the people who I'm glad that we've met. Um, and yeah, slow draw. Uh, I like music. I haven't said it so many times on this particular show, but on the Fistful of Faceful, I used to say that I liked finding mostly instrumental stuff because it's just sort of soothing to listen to as I write. Um, and for Born in Coffins, I think what Mark had written on Bandcamp, the project provides ambient soundscapes, lightly steeped in exploratory psych, and the meditative, drawn out cadence of drone. So it's definitely there's an edge that's there, like you had mentioned, with this sort of state of affairs and people going through difficulty right now. But the music is still really beautiful and has that sort of, if you're a fan of ambient soundscapes and drone and some exploratory psych, then yeah, I would definitely recommend getting all of Slow Draw's catalog, but definitely be prepared to get this album when it drops in May. And then the final band was Gramma Vedetta.
Yeah. The Hum of the Machine is what their album is called, and it's going to be released on May 27th. Gramma Vedetta is a great band out of London. First of all, the cover art on this is absolutely incredible. Beautiful color scheme, visual of the planets is really cool. I'm really liking the science fiction themes. The songs they put together are so well crafted and they sound huge. I saw on their YouTube that they have a video of a test press, so I think there's going to be vinyl, so that's pretty exciting. This is really great stoner rock with incredible guitar hooks, vocals that you want to sing along to. This is music you can listen to over and over again. I really like the song The Future of the Past. It's definitely an earworm for sure. The stories within the songs and the whole concept of the album I thought was really well done.
Yeah, Gramma Vedetta is one of those big, I say it all the time that when I discover a contemporary band that can take the place of one of the sort of stalwarts of the stoner doom, family that's no longer active or playing as much anymore, I always get really excited. And I've heard Gramma Vedetta has been around for a few years now, putting out great stuff. If you get the chance, Acid Compliant was the previous album they put out that I think is still available. That one's great. But yeah, really quality sort of stoner metal, hard rock throwback, if you will, with great hooks. So I think Heather has pretty much said it all. I can just only echo her sentiments. But definitely within the last 4 bands we've mentioned, all of them are radically different from each other, and they all put out music that everyone will like. There's a great, if you're into stoner rock, if you're into psychedelic doom, if you're into ambient drone, if you're into synth power metal, one of these bands will have a jam that you can just add to your playlist and listen to on repeat hundreds of thousands of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all we have for you for today. But we'll be back for episode 24. I may still be at my folks' place. I don't know. I may still be rocking this solid fedora. But either way, thank you, Heather, as always, for bringing Jointhugger to my attention. And for those of you out there, check out Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. We've got a ton of a backlog catalog, all sorts of OGs of great material.
Yeah. And I thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it.
We do. So that's going to do it for us for today. We will check you for episode 24.